So you've heard by now, George Zimmerman was found not guilty of second-degree murder or manslaughter of Trayvon Martin. Of course, he did kill him. That was never in dispute. What was disputed was whether or not it was a justifiable homicide and an act of self-defense. Here's what I said about the murder on May 3rd, 2012, over a year and 2 months ago as of publishing this video. So if this stupid brain-dead fuck Zimmerman thought he was in danger, if he doesn't go to jail for murder, he should be at least sentenced to prison for being a dim-witted pussy who's scared he might be killed by a pack of Skittles in an Arizona. And since people won't fucking leave me alone until I do a recap, my opinion hasn't changed. Now fuck off. Ah, for fuck's sakes, fine. So here's why my opinion hasn't changed. Let's go over the events of the night of February 26, 2012. 7:09 p.m. George Zimmerman calls the police. This is recorded. He explains that he sees someone suspicious. That someone, of course, is Trayvon Martin, who's up to no good and possibly on drugs. By the way, you can tell that a person's on drugs from inside a vehicle and several feet away. He says, "These assholes, they always get away." Apparently there's been some break-ins in the neighborhood. Zimmerman explains exactly where Trayvon is. At 7:11 p.m., Zimmerman informs the dispatcher that Trayvon is running, then gets out of his car and goes after him. Dispatcher tells him, "We don't need you to do that," and Zimmerman acknowledges. At 7:13 p.m., Zimmerman, ignoring the dispatcher, says, "I don't know where this kid is," and dispatch agrees to have the police call Zimmerman when they get there. Call ends. At 7:16 p.m., so 3 minutes later, and 5 minutes after dispatch told him not to follow, another 911 call is made from someone reporting a fight. A gunshot is heard on the call. At 7:17 p.m., literally seconds after the gunshot is heard, an officer is on the scene. Trayvon's dead, and Zimmerman's alive, but beat up. What happened between 7:13 and 7:17 is all based on witness testimony, and we don't get to hear Trayvon's side of the story because he's dead. But the story, according to the courts, is this. Trayvon went back to his house. Zimmerman followed, couldn't find him, but accidentally ended up at Trayvon's house. Trayvon came out, got pissed off at Zimmerman, as one might expect you would if some large man was chasing you to your home, and attacked him. Trayvon gets on top, beats the shit out of him. Zimmerman yells for help, which is heard on the call, then pulls his gun and shoots him, which is also heard on the call. Some witnesses claim that Trayvon was going for the gun, and clearly Zimmerman's not going to say otherwise, but whether Trayvon was trying to get the gun away because Zimmerman pulled it, or whether Trayvon saw it and tried to grab it before Zimmerman, it doesn't matter. We'll never really know. We can only go on the word of people who could kind of make it out at night, and Zimmerman himself. So now that the boring facts are out of the way, I still believe that Zimmerman was wrong. 1. He never should have been there in the first place. Some fuckhead in the comments section of my other video said, "The dispatchers aren't police, they can't tell you what to do." Fine, this is already getting too long anyway to explain how fucking stupid that comment is, but Zimmerman was the Neighborhood Watch. Neighborhood Watch are not police either. They're not even supposed to be self-appointed vigilantes. They are the Watch. They call the police and then get the fuck out of the way. Trayvon would have got away, but he committed no crime, so who cares? He was out buying some fucking candy. Why was he apparently suspiciously looking at houses? Who the fuck knows? Who even knows if he was? Zimmerman saw a kid in a hoodie. We'll even erase the race part. He saw a kid in a hoodie walking down the street, and he called the cops. He could have just made anything up. Why did Trayvon run? Well, when you're a black teenager in an apparently nice neighborhood in the US, and some asshole in a truck is staring at you with a phone in his hand talking to someone, you let me know what your decision is. Trayvon then saw Zimmerman outside of his home, and felt that he needed to defend himself. Hey, remember that stand your ground law that's so popular? I believe that Trayvon was acting within the law that night. A large man is following him to his house and he's home alone. What would you do? He probably should have called the police too. But Zimmerman is the first person who is in the wrong, and apparently in Florida, 2 wrongs make a right. 2. If he didn't have the gun in the first place, Trayvon couldn't have gone for it, could he? So even if it's true that Trayvon went for it first, that's Zimmerman's fault too. And 3. Zimmerman is 5'7", 185 pounds, and believes himself to be the defender of the night, so he must think he's tough enough to be chasing kids around neighborhoods. Trayvon is 5'11", only 4 inches taller, not 6'2", as some fucking idiots keep trying to claim, and 158 pounds. Zimmerman has a nearly 30-pound weight advantage. That's 2 full weight classes difference in the UFC and 3 or 4 in professional boxing. Trayvon was athletic though. Zimmerman was out of shape. I still know lots of out-of-shape guys that have 30 pounds on me that are a lot stronger than me. Trayvon never suckered him. According to witnesses, they were standing face to face. Trayvon threw the first punch and got the better of him. In a straight, fair fight, which again, this still isn't with Zimmerman's size advantage, if Zimmerman lost, who fucking cares? As Ivan Drago said, if he dies, he dies. But coward Zimmerman brings a gun. Anyone that says, yeah, so Zimmerman had to defend himself, you're right. He should have defended himself. With his own fists. If you think the gun was fair, you're the same type of puss cake that probably thinks 5 guys jumping in to save you from 1 guy is a fair fight. And if you're going to comment, so if you were Zimmerman, you wouldn't shoot him. You just let yourself get killed. Bullshit. I wouldn't be in that position in the first place. I don't go following suspicious people around my neighborhood. Zimmerman brought anything bad that could have happened to himself on himself that night, the very moment that he didn't listen to dispatch, a full 5 minutes prior to the fight. He should have gotten his car and went home immediately, or went and met the cops at the mailboxes, as was suggested in the first 911 call. But even with the way the fight was going, and when the cop got there, if Zimmerman didn't have the gun, he would not have died. Why? What allows me to make such wild speculation? Well, the cop was on the scene literally less than 2 minutes after the fight started. Zimmerman was still conscious from having his head smashed against the ground and suffered no brain damage, not that anyone would notice, only some cuts and apparently a broken nose. And he was completely conscious and aware enough to use a gun, so he was fine. He would not have died, the cops would have got there on time, and that would have been that. Trayvon probably would have went to jail for assault, unfairly in my opinion, and if you were being chased by a large man to your home even though you'd done nothing wrong, I hope you'd agree that Trayvon had the right to defend himself too. But no, because it's America, where you can kill a man because you're losing a fair fight that you brought on yourself, George Zimmerman walks, and Trayvon Martin's in the ground. So that is why my opinion hasn't changed. Happy? Good. Not happy? I don't fucking care. Now fuck off.